Alright guys, so first practical video in the series where we actually do some stuff for our ArcGIS Enterprise deployment. So the first thing we're going to do is get Portal up and running, but just before that we need to get the virtual machine working. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to get into Azure, set up a new virtual machine, and then get SSL working on it so it's ready for the Portal installation. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so on your computer, first thing is you want to go to portal.azure.com. Obviously you can use whatever cloud you want to use. I'm going to log in here. Once you're logged in, we're going to look for virtual machines. So we go into the search, go virtual machines. You can see I've got a bunch here already. If you've been following my channel, you'll know what they're for. But if we go into here, we'll go create and then virtual machine. This is going to be the ArcGIS Portal host machine. So we're going to create new and go ArcGIS Enterprise. Hit OK there. So that'll be a new resource group that we're going to set everything into. Virtual machine for me, I'm going to call this AGP for ArcGIS Portal. You can do something like prod here as well if you want, but I think we're just going to go AGP because I'm going to actually blow away my dev environment. Alright, so choose your area or your region. So I'm just going to go with Southeast Asia because I'm in Perth. Availability, we'll leave zone 1, we'll leave trusted, yep, we'll leave that one. Okay, so you want this, you want Windows Server 2025 Data Center Edition, because we're going to be setting it all up on a Windows environment. Obviously if you were doing Linux or something, that's not what we're going to be doing in this series, but you choose that. I think with the for the least pain we're going to use the Windows one. Alright, so for size here, I've had success just running it with the 2 virtual CPUs and 16 gig of RAM, so we're going to go with that one. But if you wanted to set this up as a more powerful production environment, you can have a look at the Esri docs, what they recommend for that. Also against your licensing, you need to check against that, but we're just going to go with 2 CPU for this video series. So we'll go 2 CPU, 16 gig of RAM. Username, I always just use my name and then the password. So that is the administrator account for when the machine gets set up. You need to remember that, obviously. Now we're going to allow some ports here. The main one for us is going to be RDP, but because this is going to be Portal, you're going to need to have access to HTTPS as well. But I'm also going to enable HTTP as well. So we're going to go HTTP, HTTPS. And we will get this notification here saying, hey, anyone can connect via remote desktop to this machine. We will change that later to just our own IP address, so don't worry about that. We'll change that later. We'll leave all of this. Hit next. Okay, for disk size, you can choose to increase this if you need to. But for the purposes of this series, I'm only going to need 126 gig. You've also got a choice of SSD, HD or standard SSD. I'm just going to leave that on premium. You can save a little bit of cash if you go down to a standard one. And for my use case, it's pretty, much of a muchness, not a massive difference. So we go down to networking now. We'll create a new virtual network. It's not going to be AGP VNet, we'll just call it ArcGIS Enterprise VNet. We'll leave the rest, just giving it a name at this stage. We do want a public IP, so we can leave this as default. Public IP can be AGP IP, that's fine. And again, we have this warning, that's all good. We'll restrict that down to just our own IP address very soon. And I think we're good, so we'll go review and create, and this will take a second. Validation's passed, so we should be good to create this machine. This is what it looks like at the minute. And we'll just go create, and this will take a little while. Alright, so As always, Azure will take a little bit to spin up everything it needs to spin up to go and get that machine ready for us to connect to. Right after this, we're going to restrict the network access down on the RDP to just our own personal IP addresses. That way it's safe before we do anything meaningful on it. And then after that, we're going to go and get an SSL certificate ready. But we'll just leave it now. I don't want to do too much all at once. So let's just wait until this finishes setting up. All right, and Azure has finished setting up our virtual machine. So let's click on go to resource. And with the resource window open now, we can see the machine's ready to go and its public IP is right here. First thing we want to do is lock down access to it. So we'll go to networking, network settings. And you see this RDP icon here is, it's got a little exclamation marks. So it's currently allowing anyone to go and connect to it via the public IP. Obviously you still need a login, but we're going to go into here and just restrict this down. So you can go from source and just go my IP address, or if you're in an organization or something and you know specific IP addresses, usually it's going to be locked down anyway. If you're doing this yourself, you can just lock it down to just your IP address for the RDP port. So let's go into here again. We got the IP address, just my IP address, and we'll hit save on that. And there we go. So now that's locked down. Azure is happy. So first thing I always like to do is just make sure we can connect to the machine. So we'll go to connect over here, and then remember this is the username we're going to use to log in. We'll go download the RDP file, which just makes it easy for us. Got agp.rdp file. We can go and click connect on here, and then this is the password, login and password, right, of the account that we set up. So we'll go into here and put in our login and password. And hit OK, and that should connect to the machine. This is saying, hey, make sure you know what you're doing when you connect to the machine. We know what we're doing, it's all good. We hit yes. And this will connect to our machine. All right, and after a second, we load into the Windows setup. So you can choose what you want to do here. I'll just hit accept. And that'll take us into the Windows Server Manager here. So I'll just close all these windows. The one thing we do want to set up here, or at least I like to do this, is set up IIS on this machine. So we'll go to Manage, Add Roles and Features. And what IIS will do is just allow us to check our access to the machine via HTTP and HTTPS. So we'll go to Role-Based, Feature-Based Installation. We'll go next over here. And then scroll here and go to Web Server IIS. We'll need IIS anyway for the web adapter that we install later. So IIS, go next, and then we can keep it pretty minimal. When we do the portal installation, it'll ask if it can install everything else that it needs. But for now, we just need IIS working so we can check HTTP and HTTPS. So we'll let that one install, and that'll take a little while. All right, so once IIS is finished installing, you should get installation succeeded on whatever your machine name is. So hit close there, and you can install anything else that you'd normally like to install in your machine, but as a minimum, that's all we're going to do. And now we're going to make sure IIS is working. So what we can do, close that down, and then just go to the machine's overview and then see the IP address here. We should be able to, from our local machine, go into here and put the IP address in the address bar, and you should come to the machine's IIS default web page here. Alright, so at this point we've got HTTPS working and connecting to our ArcGIS Portal's IIS, or what will be ArcGIS Portal's IIS. The next thing we need to do is enable HTTPS, and we do that by creating an SSL certificate, which we will need to go and get from a third-party provider. So if we go back on the machine, the guys I like to use are zerossl, and the reason why I usually like to use them is because they give you a 90-day free certificate. In this case, I'm actually going to use a 1-year one, but if you're just doing this for practice, log into the machine, create an account, and just create a 90-day one. So we'll go to new certificate, and my certificate is going to be called agp.intelligis.io, so I'm fine with that. I'll go to the next step. And then here, if you wanted a 1-year certificate, which is usually what you would do, you can choose this one, but you will need a premium account here, which will cost you about, I don't know, maybe $100 Australian. You can also do a free 90-day certificate as well, but we're just going to go the 1 year. Go over here, auto generate CSR. We can go 2048 RSA. You can see that's my current plan. I'm just going to go with this one, and we'll hit next. If you're doing a free one, there'll be another one here on the left saying it's free. All right, so it'll take you to this page. This is where we need to verify domain ownership. The way I like to do it is through DNS CNAME records, because I feel like it's the easiest way to do it. And what this makes you do is go to your DNS provider. In my case, it's Ventra IP, so I'll go over there. Ventra IP. Okay, once you're in your domain provider, what you can do is look for your DNS. In this case, we're going to be working with the intelligis.io one, so I'll go to DNS. You'll do this however you're doing your one. You can see I've got all these existing A records and these C records. What we will do here is set up an A record for agp.intelligis.io against the machine's IP address, and then we'll also create CNAME records as zerossl has asked us to do. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we'll go get the IP address of the machine over here. Go to services, we'll create the A record first. So it's just going to be, over here, and then this one's going to be agp.intelligis.io 3600. We hit add. And then adding that in will allow us to go to agp.intelligis.io via HTTP, and that's pointing to our server, but we want HTTPS, so we need to go into here and we need to follow the zerossl instructions. Okay, so the first thing is to add the following CNAME record, which is just this. So I think we're just going to have to do this part. Go into here, CNAME, put that in here, and we're going to point it to this URL here. Point it to that, put that in there, hit add, and then that record has now been added. I think we're done with this now. We can just go here. This is default, we set that already. We'll go next step. And then verify domain. All right, it's verified. I think from this point here, you can actually go back in your DNS and go and delete the CNAME record, because it was just used for verification. But anyway, from here we're verified and we're going to generate certificate, so it should be good to go. Okay, so once the certificate has been issued by zerossl, we can go and download it. By default, we're going to get there's no easy way to get an IIS style certificate. We actually need this in PFX. But what we're going to do is just download this standard CRT certificate zip file. And then we're going to have to use a tool to convert this to PFX. So let's just open this, we'll copy it, and then go to our virtual machine. Again, so this is the portal virtual machine that we set up. And we'll go to File Explorer and just put this into a folder that we can use later. So we go to C drive. I think I'll just call this new folder. We'll call it software, because we're going to put the portal stuff in here as well. New folder SSL. Okay, and then we'll just paste this in here. And then let's extract it all. Yeah, extract it. Okay, and then in that folder we can see we've got a CA bundle, a certificate, and then the private key. So the next step, on this machine we have to go and convert this to a PFX file. So I'll show you how to do that now. Okay, so back on the machine, we need to get an openssl tool to do this conversion. So let's just go to Microsoft Edge on the machine itself. All right, at the top here you want to go to just google.com, and we're going to search for, look, Bing's okay, but let's just use Google, okay? openssl Windows, yeah. Okay, so I think we want to go here, Shining Light Productions. And if we go here, and then if we scroll down here, we'll see all the installation files. So I think we just need the light version. We'll just get the MSI file so we can install it. All right, and it's going to say, hey, are you sure you trust this thing? Look, I've been using this for a long time, so I do trust it. So we're going to go down here, keep anyway. And we'll hit open on that guy and just let it install. And if you have any qualms about it, this is just on a virtual machine, so after you install it you can go and do all your checks. Look, so it needs a C++ redistributable, so we'll hit yes to download it. Okay, so now we have that. What we'll do is in our downloads folder, we'll just run the install for it. Should only take a little while. Okay, now we can install openssl. And move that up, we can accept the agreement. We'll just install it in the default location. Go next, yes, install. All right, you can make a donation if you like. Hit finish there. All right, so that's ready to go. We just need to make sure we can run that easily. And the way I like to do that is to give it the file path into my path directory, so I can just run it from command line directly, right? So if we go and have a look at where it's been installed, it's in program files, openssl64, and then the bin. This exe file is what we want to have access to. So copy this path, so just go right click and copy. And then on this PC, I usually like to right click on it, go to properties. Yep, and then from here, we want to go to advanced system settings. In this window, we'll go environment variables. And then for the path, the system path, we go edit, and we'll just add a new one. So go new, put the path in here, and then hit OK and OK. And what that allows us to do is if we open PowerShell or terminal here, so just go terminal, we can type openssl, and that'll be a command that we can access. You can see these are all the tools that we've now got available to us and installed. So, all right, there's a whole bunch of stuff, but what we want to do is go into the directory over here, C drive, software, SSL, and the agp.intelligence. Go into this directory and go and convert these into a PFX file that we can then add to the server certificates. So I'm going to copy that, I'm going to go cd into that directory, and we're going to run this command, okay? I'll show you. I'll put this in the video description, but I've just pasted it. So this is what it looks like. So openssl pk CS12, export out the PFX file into the same directory that we've got here, that we're in, and then provided all the files that it needs, like the private key, the certificate file, and then the bundle file. So we go enter. It's going to ask us for a password to set, so we'll go and set that. Hit enter and then verify. And it's done. So if we go back to that directory, we'll see now we have the zerossl-cert file. We double click on that, we can install the certificate using the wizard. So we can go, let's just go local machine, and then yeah, next, and then put in the password. And we can go next on that, and next on that, and then finish. Import was successful, good to go. Okay, now in IIS we need to go set the binding. So we click start and go IIS, because it's still not going to work yet. So we need to tell IIS that we're going to use that certificate on the server. So we go to here, click the drop down, and then under sites, default website, we're going to go bindings. We're going to go add, and see we got HTTP, so that works, but we want HTTPS, so that's the 443 port to go to our new certificate that we've just installed. So yours might be called different depending on how you set up your certificate. So we go OK, and now that's ready to go, so we hit close. And that was a whole bunch of work, but we're ready to test it now. So let's go out of the machine. Sorry, these are my notes. And we go here, this was the HTTP access to it. Now if we put in https:// and then your domain, we should now go to the server and be secured by SSL. So you can see we've got a little padlock here. You can see the details about the certificate in here if you need to. But the server is almost ready to go. We need to open one port on the firewall on the machine, okay? So for portal, we'll go back into the machine, go over here, and we type in firewall. And you see Windows Defender Firewall. We want one inbound rule here added. So go new, and we're going to go port, go next. TCP, the local port is just going to be 7443. That's for portal, okay? Data store and server will be different ones again. And there's actually a few for data store. So, but for portal, this is all we want, 7443. So we go next. Allow the connection on everything, and we call this ArcGIS portal. All right, that should be ready to go now. Okay, so the server now, after all that work, is ready to go. So what have we done? We set up a virtual machine. We have set up an SSL certificate, converted it, and then binded it to IIS. And then we tested both HTTP and HTTPS access to the server. So now we're connected to IIS, and it's ready to go, it's working. And then we open up the port for portal to run on. We're going to need that port open for it to be able to communicate with server and back and forth and that sort of thing. So in the next video, what we will do is install portal itself. It's a fairly painless process, but we'll install it and license it on the server. And then we'll see how we're going with time. We might also do the web adapter, but otherwise that'll be in a separate video as well. But it's going to be a big long series setting this all up. It's a fairly decent amount of work. But stick with me and you'll be an expert in ArcGIS Enterprise deployments in no time. All right, cheers.